So warm-ups are incredibly important, as we all know, but equally you can start to warm up using the straps. Now it's a great way for you to start either a group, one-on-one PT, or however you want to be able to do it. You can do this indoors, outdoors, doesn't matter where you are, you can start your warm-up using the straps. All you're going to be doing in order to vary your warm-up is you can take pretty much any of the exercises. I wouldn't start on the core ones though, but I'd start to look at the big compound movements and start to break them down, and you can start to lessen the angle that you're working at. So if we were to take something like a row, now I would have about a 5 or 10 minute warm-up on this. Now I would come up a little bit higher, so I wouldn't be into a deep position, but I'll just be making sure that I've got a good strong core. I've got straight lines from my shoulders to my hips down through into my ankles, and I will just work it from a much higher angle. So I'm just focusing on coming up, squeezing the shoulder blades. This is about working slowly to start with. Nice and controlled, just get the movement and the range of movement through each of those joints. I'd carry on and do quite a few reps of those, probably break it up into 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps, and then I'll start to look at something like WYTIs. So depending on what you're doing, you don't want to get too deep into this. So coming up nice and tall, just coming up, holding the position nice and steady, doing the W, coming up into the Y, out into the T. So it's just nice and steady, it's nice and controlled. Just making sure that you've got the range of movement, you're holding the body position. There's nothing complex on this. I'll do a couple of sets of those, just to make sure that my shoulder joints nicely warmed up. And then I'll start looking at stuff like squats. So squats on here, really easy, so you can start to get anyone, if you've got like an older client or something like that, you can get a chair to put behind them and they can then sit down onto the chair and then come back up again. So again, same as with a bodyweight squat, you want to make sure that the positioning is right. You can sit a little bit further back, obviously, with this. So you can get their weight all the way out behind them, coming all the way back up again. So keep the pressure on the knees, keep pushing the knees out, driving back up to get that glute and hamstring activation. Just nice and steady. Start to get the muscles warmed up. Try and focus on using the legs. So if you want to put it more into the legs rather than using the arms to start coming up, then you can start to stand a little bit taller, sitting down, taking the pressure off the straps. Have the pressure on as they go down, driving back up again, take the pressure off. So you can start to see that they're sitting down into their squat properly. Starts to give people a little bit more confidence as they're starting to come through, so they can start to work that squat a little bit more. And again, you can start to do things such as a full squat, up halfway, down and back up again. So you're getting a 1.5 squat coming all the way through. So we've worked the hips and the hamstrings and the glutes through the squat. So I want to start working a little bit more and opening up the hip joint a little bit so I can start to do some lunges. So just very gently coming through, just working that lunge. I might pause, have a little bit of movement through, so move my arms around, just move my hips a little bit, come up, just to start getting that movement and twist in, just very, very gently. You don't need to do anything, no big movements in this, just getting the hips warm. That's a really nice way to pull down on the straps to start moving the hips around. Standing up, and then I'll do some side lunges. So just stepping out, making sure as you're stepping across that that knee is sitting back behind the toe, so you're really sitting back into it because you can put your weight onto the straps, sitting down into it. Might do a few on one side, just to feel that stretch coming through, and then into the other side again, making sure this knee is sitting well back, away from the toes, so I can start to feel that the inside of my thigh now is starting to warm up. I'm getting a bit of a dynamic stretch going in there. And then you can start to look at push-ups. So again, we're going to start activating the chest a little bit more. So depending on the type of client that you've got, they can start off with a foot in front of them, just coming through and doing a push-up, and using that front leg to steady them. If they're feeling a little bit stronger than that, then they can come up a little bit higher. Again, we're only looking to get movement in here, so we don't want a huge amount of weight going into this at this point. But we're just starting to get the movement through the shoulders, warming up the chest. And again, you can do quite a few like this, and the muscles are getting nice and warm. And you'll start to get to that point of a light sweat. But making sure that you've got that full range of movement is the best way to be able to do it. As you start to get warmer, you can then start to increase the depth that you're going to get in there as well. So another one I like to be able to do is a push-up with a lunge. Now, the push-up with a lunge is brilliant. So you're going to stand here, you're just going to lunge forward, come down, come back up again. Chain legs, down, come back. Now the thing you can do with this is you can come down, put the knee on the floor, and then you can have a little bit of a reach through with the same side arm. Come back, push yourself back to the start, down, and you're going to start stretching the hip flexors here, punching that arm out in front of you, hold, back up. So again, it's a very gentle exercise. No fast movements on this. But it just helps to open up the hips, coming through, and then punching across the body, back down, step forward, step backwards. It's a really nice way to start opening up and warming up that hip area again. One of my other favourite ways of being able to do this is, I haven't got a concept tool or an ergo here, so I like to be able to use the straps to be able to replicate the row. So what I do, bring my feet further forward, lean back, squat down, and row up. And I'll do this for about 3 to 4 minutes at the end of my warm-up. That way I know that I'm going to be lovely and warm by the time I come to actually do my workout. So that's going to take you about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how warm you already are. So it's key, take it steady, make it progressive, and you get towards the end of it, and you're going to start raising the heart rate, giving that blood flowing around the body. It's a perfect way to be able to start your workout.